Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez, and I have a very exciting guest here today. He is an Emmy-nominated composer known for his work on SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cuphead Show, and most recently, he composed a new chapter for Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. I'm so excited to welcome composer Ego Plum. Ego, how are you doing today?
Really good. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. I love your work on the Cuphead show. That show is so fun, and your music for it is so catchy and lively and vibrant. So I was like thrilled when I saw you were attached to compose the new music for the Haunted Mansion.
Thank you
How did
so much.
that come about for you?
It's funny. I think some of the people at Imagineering heard some of the stuff from Cuphead, so they reached out to me through my agent, and we had a couple of meetings. We hit it off, and it just seemed like a good match.
Yeah, no, perfect. I haven't been yet since they reopened it from the taking down the Nightmare Before Christmas
Oh,
like
right.
layover. So the
Yeah.
next time I go to Disneyland, which I think is going to be later this week, I'm going to go and I'm going to get to experience the music in the
Yeah.
extended queue. It's going to be so fun.
Oh, how great.
Have
Yeah,
you?
I can't wait to hear it myself with the way it is now with the without the nightmare overlay. I'm excited. Maybe in the next month I'll be there too.
Yeah, nice. I was going to ask if you had had a chance to go down there yet. So yeah, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, I've watched videos, though I'll be honest, like I went on YouTube just to see some reactions, and I'm happy that people are enjoying it. It's really great.
Do you happen to remember the very first time you ever rode the Haunted Mansion?
Oh my God. I mean, I was a kid, I grew up in Southern California, and Disneyland was just a very normal part of our like summers. It's just a thing that we did. So yeah, I mean, the park is just ingrained in me. Um, I can't remember specifically the first time I rode it, but I just remember it so well as a child, it being one of my favorite rides for sure. You know?
Yeah, definitely. It's like a must do anytime I go there or
Right.
anytime I go with my nieces, it's like we've got to do the Haunted Mansion. How about like a favorite part? Do you have a favorite part of the ride?
It's always that first part when you walk into the expanding room and that hallway. I don't know what it is. It's the anticipation of the rest of it, but I just love that feeling of like we're about to be immersed in this thing, and it's so still scares me that that hanging person that's up in it's like that wouldn't fly today. Like they wouldn't allow that anymore. I think it just sort of got grandfathered in. I hope they never remove it.
Oh my gosh, actually I was just reading about this like a week ago. I don't know if it's true or not, but they changed a couple things in the ride since it
Yeah.
reopened. I think they took away the bride's axe because you know how there's like the bride who murders all
Right,
her
right.
ex-husbands. I don't know how
Wow.
she's supposed to have murdered them now if they took away her axe. But I also heard there's a rumor that they might take away that hanging person because I think
Oh
you're
my
right.
God.
Today, if they made this ride, they would not put a hanging person.
Right,
But
right.
it's been there for so long, and it's like it's going to be missing if they get rid of it. But I would be very curious what they would put there because they would have to replace it with something. So I'd be very, curious to see what could go
I
there
know,
instead.
I know. Well, let's hope it stays, right?
Yeah, because I can't believe the axe is gone. I have to go on it myself and
Right, right.
like see for myself and make sure that's true. But it's
Mhm.
just like, how did she do it then?
Yeah, no, I definitely, like you said, the question, like I love that first part. I think ever since I learned that Walt Disney originally wanted that attraction to be a walkthrough,
Mhm.
feel like that's sort of the remnants of that feeling of seeing the illusions, like with the faces that follow you and the paintings kind of changing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I love the entire ride, but something about that beginning before you sit down in the buggies just really like means the world to me.
Yeah, I also love the part where you're coming out of like the attic and you see the Hatbox Ghosts for the first time, and
Yeah.
then you go down backwards. I love that part.
Oh,
It's
right.
it's
Oh, right. Yeah, you could feel that in your body, just that. Oh, it's so great.
yeah, such a
Yeah.
good part of the ride.
Yeah,
So how
absolutely.
would you describe your new arrangements and new additions to the Haunted Mansion music?
Okay, well, here's the thing. Buddy Baker wrote this beautiful music that we know very well from that ride. Um, uh, and when I was sort of revisiting it to work on the music for the outside, you realize it's you have this one great melodic idea, but I was sort of like playing it in my head, and it's really just this 10-second thing, and then it just sort of goes on and these great lyrics over it that change, but the melody itself do 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 then do do dum bum 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 dum bum 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 bum. That's everything. That thing goes by in 10 seconds. So now imagine how do we fill this entire time outside where we have these four different areas, and we need to complete about 10 minutes for each area, totaling 40 minutes. And taking that, but make it so that it feels like it's different, like it's doing different things. The goal was really to stay true to, Buddy Baker's original vision of what that song is. Um, Trying not to stray too much, but I had to invent a few new things for it to work. But for the most part, it all revolves around that main melody and doing all sorts of variations wherever I can, you know?
Mm. Oh, I cannot wait to hear it. And yeah, that music is iconic. The lyrics are iconic. One of my favorite things they do is around Halloween time. They do like Halloween fireworks, and they have the Haunted Mansion music play, and they have like green lights everywhere, and
Oh, that's great.
it's such a cool addition for
Yeah.
Halloween time. So we both have had, the Haunted Mansion in our lives ever since we were little kids. How
Hmm.
would you say that this ride in particular has helped shape your creativity?
That's a great question. I've always sort of gravitated towards the macabre and the things that are a little different. I think that sort of was a gateway as well. Being a kid, and I don't know what it is when you're young that makes you gravitate towards things, but you could either fall in love with the pirates or Small World, but something about the Haunted Mansion just attracted me, and I think I was lucky enough to also have older brothers that were into spooky stuff. And my oldest brother, Al, always had like skulls and various sort of creepy things in his room, and I just was really attracted to that. It just sort of, even my music taste started going in that sort of direction, like goth stuff and alternative music. um so yeah, it would just kind of made sense. Like my world was meant not for mainstream and pop music. It was meant for just alternative things. And this very much fits in that category of like, if there was an alternative to Disneyland, this is sort of that little weird goth world inside Disneyland that I think a lot of people are attracted to for sure.
Yeah,
For you
no,
too?
I totally agree with you. I think it's interesting how like what you were saying, some people gravitated towards the Pirates of the Caribbean, some people
Sure.
gravitated towards Small World, but then there's people like us where it's like
Right.
the ride that really, resonated with us was Haunted Mansion.
Absolutely.
And the people who love it, they're like diehard fans of it. And that's why when they do stuff like take away the bride's axe and
Oh
possibly
yeah.
take away the hanging person, it's like, I don't know. I'll have to see because sometimes they do make really nice additions.
Right.
But
Oh
I
yeah,
have to
totally.
see.
I know we all get very precious and protective of these things we love, but those guys at Imagineering, they're really brilliant. Like
Mhm.
I really respect the stuff they do and the choices. Like when I was there with them working, we were there overnight. Like their understanding of sound and the way things work is just like they're just so good. They're just all like these geniuses at sound. They were explaining to me things they do. For example, like there was a certain area where they were concerns about this one bird that would poop in this certain area of the line, and it's just it's not a good thing. So they have the sound of this other bird that's a predator bird playing in the speakers so that it makes that bird not go to that area, and it kind of scares it away.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a weird Disney secret, but it was like, this is amazing what they could figure out, you
I've
know?
never heard that before. That's pretty cool.
Right?
I love that.
I know.
So, was part of the work for coming up with this music going on the ride and, hearing the sounds and the music and just like soaking in the atmosphere of the ride?
Totally. And that was like, I remember when they first hired me, that was like one of the big things I was excited about. However, when we went to the park, it was during the Nightmare overlay. And of course, I love Danny Elfman's music, but it wasn't really the same doing the ride with that. I wasn't able to fully immerse myself in what that Buddy Baker music was, and also the visuals are different. Of course, you got Jack Skellington everywhere and all that. So I did that a few times. I got to do it like alone, which was interesting. But I also relied on YouTube videos, just watching the walkthroughs, but mostly just relying on my memories
Hmm.
and my the feelings that it gave me. That sort of is key. It's not even so much about the sound, it truly is about feelings and that recollection of just being the child and like kind of creeped out, but kind of attracted to it. And it's kind of fun, but also spooky. That fine line between scaring people and attracting them, you
Hmm.
know, and trying to nail whatever that is.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I can't even imagine getting to go on the Haunted Mansion alone and just I would be excited, but I think I'd also be a little bit spooked.
Right, right. You know, in some ways, I I mean, I actually walked through it as well, and I didn't want to do it. There was a part of me that said, "No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what this is like, with the lights on or walking." And I almost turned it down. But then I realized, you know what? Now I am part of the magic. I'm not like on the other side. I'm in this side of it now.
Yeah.
Time for me to know how this works. It's like I don't like knowing how magic tricks are done. I don't want to
Mhm.
know how things work. Sometimes like if you pass a video on like Instagram, it's like they're about to give away a trick. I just scroll to the next thing. I don't want to know. I don't like knowing that stuff. But I guess unfortunately or fortunately, I got to see how the sausage is made and how these things operate from the back. I got to see behind the expanding room. I got to see the Pepper's ghost from downstairs. All I mean, it's crazy.
I can't even imagine. That's like a dream come true for me. The only ride I've ever walked through was one time we got stuck on Roger Rabbit, like the ride broke down. So
Yeah.
they turned on all the lights, and then we were maybe like halfway through the ride. So we got to walk through a good amount of it and like get up close to the characters and see the stuff.
Oh,
But
that's
it's
great.
nowhere near getting to walk through Haunted Mansion and see,
Oh my
like you
God.
said, the Pepper's Ghost up close and
Yeah, yeah,
the
it's
stretching
crazy.
room. That's crazy to me.
I know it is, and I almost wish I could go back to not knowing, but I understand that now it's my place to be part of the magic, I suppose, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Other than the Haunted Mansion, do you have some other favorite rides at Disneyland?
Um, Small World, actually. Something about how pure and simple it um, is amazing to me. Just the fact that it's still, one of the original sort of Disneyland visions that Walt had. Simple cutouts, characters that are I don't know what the material is, wood or whatever it
Mm.
is. I just love the simplicity and charm of that. And of course, the technology that we're getting in the new rides is great. And one of the cool new things I got to try was the that Mickey Mouse,
Oh yeah.
which is really like an amazing example of something that feels like a classic Disney ride, but also utilizes technology in a cool way. That was amazing. And of course, like the new Star Wars stuff is just beautiful. The um, um, is it called Rise of the Resistance?
Yeah, I love that ride. That ride's so
Yeah,
fun.
that thing, like the first time I did that, like my eyes welled up when the first time you see all the stormtroopers, when that thing opens up, it's just you really felt like you were in a movie. It's like that's just incredible, incredible stuff. But for some reason, I love the simplicity of these weird little like those fantasy land rides,
Mhm.
like the Alice in Wonderland ride and the teacups. Those simple kind of things always just m- remind me of my childhood and being there with my brothers and my parents. You
Oh,
know, it's so
yeah.
fun. What about
Yeah.
you? What's your favorite rides?
Ooh, okay. So I do love Rise of the Resistance. I think that's like one of the coolest rides they've ever made. I just love,
Right.
all the different styles they've put together because it's like the
Mhm.
trackless system, but then there's also the drop and just the scale when you go into the room and you see the AT-ATs and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God. But then I do love the classic ones too, like Peter Pan. I
Mm.
love that, right? I just don't like waiting for it because it's like never lower than like
Right.
40 minutes.
Right.
But man, yeah, it's so fun. And my nieces recently just got passes to Disneyland, so we're
Right.
going more frequently with them. And it's so special to see, because they are 6 years old. So it's like to see it through their eyes. It's so cool to
Oh,
see
that's
them
great.
experience stuff for the first time.
Yeah, I
All
love
right,
that.
so I gotta ask, because I'm a huge physical media collector, and I
Mhm.
have a feeling you are too. Do you happen to know if there's going to be a physical release for your score for Haunted Mansion?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I'll say this, it's something that is definitely a possibility. If and when it's going to happen, I do not know, but it's something that was discussed early on because I think they realized there would probably be interest in it. So it was like somewhere in the contracts, it's like something that is possible, but we don't know just yet if that's something. I would love to see it, because it's fun hearing people online like try to get clips of it, and there's people that have like I don't know if they've hidden like recording devices in the garden to try to get the different music in different areas. It's really great. I love that people like the music that much that they would even do that. I'm fascinated fascinated. But it'd be great if it was out. I mean, so people could have nice, clean copies of it. Is that a, do they release all the music from all the tracks from all the rides or
I don't know, because when I was at D23 a couple years ago,
yeah?
they had the Haunted Mansion vinyl, right? And then they also had, I think, Small World, and they had, I think it was one that was like Adventureland. So it had some of the Tiki Room stuff, and I think
Sure.
maybe something from Jungle Cruise. It was like a compilation. So I feel like some of the rides do, but I,
Mm.
I just feel like the Haunted Mansion specifically, you can make it like a really cool purple or green
Oh yeah,
and
wouldn't
put
that be
some
great?
artwork on it. I would just love to add that to my collection. So I really, fingers crossed that they release your
Absolutely. Yeah,
music on a
sure.
physical like vinyl. That'd be so cool.
Be amazing. All right, let's will it
So,
into existence. Let's make it happen somehow.
yes, agreed. We have to talk about Cuphead while we're here talking
Yes.
because I love the show. I love the video game. I suck at the video game. Have you ever played?
Oh yeah, it's really hard. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, I don't think I've even beat like maybe one boss if I was lucky, that was it. It's just it's too much.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
frustrating, it's very hard, it's beautiful, but it just you can't do it.
It's such a gorgeous game. I love the animation style, love the characters, but I am terrible at it. And it's hilarious because I think parents don't realize looking at it like, oh, this is a cute game. I'm gonna get it for
Yeah,
my kids. But I don't know any kids that can beat it. So it's like I think, like you said, I think maybe I've beaten like one, maybe two bosses.
right,
And then like I'll invite friends over and I'll be like, oh, you should play, and then I'll watch them play. Sometimes they get farther than me, but uh the good
right,
thing about the show is you don't have to beat anything. You can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And it was just such a fun, different iteration of the characters, and just to get to see the story and that
right.
style that they came up with, the like homage to like the 1920s, and the
Oh my
side
God.
scrolling is
No.
just so beautiful. How did you get involved with doing the music for Cuphead?
So 15 years ago, the first thing I ever worked on was this short-lived series at Nickelodeon called Making Fiends. It's like not a lot of people know it because they only did like 6 episodes. It was kind of a spooky series about two characters named Charlotte and Vendetta. Really cool. Some people would know it. It kind of has a cult following, which is great. But I met a guy named Dave Wasson on that show, and he ended up being the showrunner for Cuphead, 15 years later, but we remained friends. So when he got that gig, he said, "Hey, you're interested in this?" I said, "Absolutely." So he had me make one song. Like we made this first song together, the Devil's song from
Oh,
the first
nice.
episode. So that was basically my audition. I wrote that entire piece, gave it to the studio, and then just kind of waited. And they all loved it. It felt right. People loved the tone, the music, blah, blah, blah. And that secured the job for me. And the rest is history.
That's so cool. Do you have a favorite song that you made for the show?
Maybe that one because it meant so much, maybe because that's what got me the job. But also the King Dice song. What is that called? Roll the Dice.
Mhm.
That's a great one because it got us a Emmy nomination, and it's we got Wayne Brady to sing it. It's really cool. Yeah, that's got to be another favorite. And of course, I love all the instrumental stuff we got to do, which we finally put out on vinyl, which is really nice. The label I Am 8-Bit put out a double vinyl that has all the uh all the best instrumental stuff and all the vocal songs. It's pretty great.
Yeah, that's such a great score that you came up with, and just that show, that game, everything is so fun. It's so cool that you're working on these two, I would say, pretty different things between Cuphead and the Haunted Mansion.
You're
But
right, huh? Somehow, in my mind, they kind of are connected, but you're right. It is kind of very different sonically. Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I think if they were to do a short or an episode, I would love to see the characters of Cuphead go through the events of the Haunted Mansion ride.
All right. There is one episode you should try to find it. It's the one where they're like go through a cemetery, end up in this mausoleum,
Oh
where
yeah.
we sort of try to make it feel like a haunted mansion thing. So maybe that would be the closest connection to what I ended up doing for the haunted mansion for sure.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I do remember that episode. That was a good one. Is there anything that you're currently working on right now that you're able to talk about?
Let's see. I could tell you that I just finished my first animated feature uh, for, let's just say I'm going to be going into the superhero universe for the first time.
Ooh, all
I
right.
won't say Marvel or DC, but you know, one of them. And yeah, so that's something that's coming out next year that I'm excited
Nice.
about. It hasn't been like I don't think I've been announced formally attached to it, so that's why I can't say, but that's something I'm excited about.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I will definitely keep my eyes peeled for that. That sounds really fun. Does it drive you nuts to work on these projects, but have to keep a secret? Like, because like you said, it doesn't come out till next year. So does that bother you that you can't tell people?
I'm so used to it now, honestly. Like there's been stuff I've been working on for a year and I can't say anything, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
especially with Disney, you got to sign all these things and everything's got to be like, you can't say the word about anything. So it's just normal now. I get it. It's just the way it works. I don't get frustrated anymore. It's just,
Mhm.
I know one day it's going to be out there and we could talk about it like we are now.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of times I'm biting my tongue. It's like I want to just share with the world what I'm doing. It's so fun. Yes, it's difficult.
Oh my gosh. I would just be terrified. I would be scared that I would accidentally
Me to
let
blow it.
something slip, like Tom Holland. You know how he
Oh my
accidentally
God, of
always
course.
ruins Marvel
He always messes
movies?
that up. Although
Oh
I
my
think that's
gosh.
gotta be a setup. I think like they probably he works with the studio and they plan to leak stuff because it's funny and it gets a lot of attention. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think some of it is, but I think some of it is an accident.
It probably started on accident and they were like, let's kind of capitalize on this
Yeah.
fun thing with you, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like let's lean into it and play into
That's
it.
so funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, Eagle, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be here and talk all things Haunted Mansion and Cuphead with me. I really appreciate you taking the time. Where would be a good place for people to follow you and keep up with all your other upcoming projects and hopefully a vinyl announcement for your music for Haunted
Oh, that's
Mansion?
great. It's funny because a lot of things are changing with social media, and a lot of people are switching from one thing to another.
Yeah.
I still use Instagram, so if you want to follow at Ego Plum, but also the website egoplum.com. There's a mailing list on there. Um, so I think I'm gonna try to revert back to sending emails. I feel like everyone has an email address. Why not start using that? But also, of course, Instagram is fine. Yeah, and I'll give you the latest news. And I will tell you one thing
Hmm.
that I'm going to be talking about something else. I'm going to announce something pretty soon, and has to do with another Disneyland thing.
Ooh.
Uh, at Disney, that I did music that I'm doing that you'll see.
Okay.
I'll
All
talk about
right.
that soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do another one of these to talk about that. So.
All
That's
right,
a
cool. Yeah.
sneak peek
I would
of
love to.
something to come.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for that. And congratulations on everything. And I just can't wait to see what you do next because everything that you're doing is just so fun and creative and different and just I don't know, it's stuff that I would never expect like going from Cuphead to Haunted Mansion to the stuff you were teasing. I just think it's so cool and exciting and fresh. So very exciting.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. It's for me an honor to talk about it, and I'm glad that people like you are interested and want to talk about it. For me, it's like a dream come true, and it means the world to me, and I'm glad it means something to you too.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Ego, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Take care. We'll see
Thanks. Bye.
you.